Hello student, this is grade 9 history lesson 4. In the previous lesson, in lesson 3, we discussed about the population movement integration in Ethiopia and the Horn. Now let's proceed to the lesson 4, the Gada system, Moggasa and Guddifacha. The Gada system is an indigenous socio-political institution of the Oromo. In the past, the system regulated the entire political, economic, social, and religious life of the Oromo. As you know, the Gada system was inscribed by UNESCO in 2016 as intangible world cultural heritage of humanity. Now, in this lesson, we'll discuss about the Gada system and the two institutions of the Oromo called Moggasa and Guddifacha. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to discuss the main feature of Gada system of the Oromo and point out the main feature and the consequence of Moggasa and Guddifacha systems of the Oromo. Gada system was based on age grades, and the generation sets. It was an egalitarian system in which an assembly or chafe provided leadership. Like the present parliament, chafe provided a leadership. This chafe regulates the community's political, economic, social, and religious activities. So Gada deals with conflict resolution, arara, reparation or compensation, what you call it, guma, and protecting women's rights. These are incorporated under Gada system. Moreover, the Gada system, an institution through which the Oromo socially organized themselves, administer their affairs, administer their socio-economic and political affairs, and defend their territories, maintain law and order, and manage their economics. All these things are under Gada system. It includes social, economic, and political aspects of the Oromo nation. So Oromo practiced Gada system long before the 16th century. According to many evidences, the Oromo nation practiced this Gada system before the 16th century. Gada incorporates many democratic elements such as power sharing. This was to prevent dictatorship, to prevent one-man rule. They share a power. And there was also periodic election. Periodic election from one generation to the next. In every time there is periodic succession of power. And the other elements of democracy in Gada system, representation, all clans, all lineage, all confederacies represented in Gada system. All the clans had their own delegates in decision-making process in Gada system. Gada also system organized the Oromo society into age grades and generation sets. Each age grade has different roles and responsibilities. Responsibilities and roles categorized based on the ages. So let's see the age grades and their responsibilities in Gada system. So Dabale from birth to 8 years, we call them Dabale. They give a social service, socialization. The second age from 9 to 16, we call them Gametitiko. Gametitiko, they transmit information, messages to the village areas. They transmit message and information. We call them Titimeko from 9 to 16 years of old. The third year from 17 to 24, we call them Gamme Gurguddo. Gamme Gurguddo gives roles of Gamme Gurguddo are military, giving a military training and agriculture. They trained military they become capable for military. And they involve in agricultural activities. They support their nation, their families. Fourth group, which was from 25 to 32, we call them Kusa. This group has a responsibility in military service. They are involving in many military battles, so we call them Kusa. From 33 up to 40 years of old, we call them Robadori. These are candidates for political power. After they accomplish their involvement in military service, and they proceed to candidates for political power based on their ability, based on their wisdom, based on their participation in different administration and social issue. They became candidates. So the Gada in power was called Luba from 41 up to 98. We call them leaders of Gada. These were the administrators. The Gada in power, we call them the Gada in power. From age 41 up to age 48, we call them Luba. Just after 48 years, they become Yuba. Just they left out from the leadership. They are from 49 up to age 80. They give an advice for those who were in power, for the Gada leaders, and they educate and they lead ritual ceremonies. Spiritual activities were led by ritual ceremonies, or spiritual activities were led by the Yubas. So all these were the Gada grades and their roles. So in the system, 8 years represents one Gada, and then 5 Gada period, 40 years represents one generation. So from birth up to 40 years, there are 5 Gada periods. So which means 5 times 8 is equals to 40. In order to become a leader, they have to fast every 5 sets, every 5 age grades. So 40 years represents one generation. 9 generation represents an era. 9 generation represents one era. The political philosophy of Gada is based on 3 main values, such as terms of 8 year, balanced position between parties, and power sharing between higher and lower levels of the administration. So let's see Gada leaders, those who empower, those who lead administrative affairs of the Oromo. We call them the Gada leaders. Abba Gada, the head of the government, father of the period, leaders of the Oromo nation is called Abba Gada. Abba Boku, father of speaker or spokesman of the Chafe, and Abba Chafe, head of the assembly. The other Abasera, father of law, and the other distribution as the other administrative leaders are there. So let's see the Oda. The Gada assembly takes place under synchron tree called Oda, symbolically representing the place of dialogue and the consensus, the place under which conflict resolved, the place under which discussion and reconciliation occurred under the Oda tree. This is an example of the Oda tree. It shows the Oda trees and the traditional styles of the Gada leader, Abba Gada under the Oda. So this shows the place of the consensus and dialogue called Oda. So the Gada system functioned by a cyclic power transfer from one Gada to the next class. So this cyclic power transfer from Gada class to the next in every 8 years. In every 8 years, there is a cyclic transfer of power. So there are 5 Gada classes or generation sets. Let's see those 5 Gada classes. The Modena, Kilole, Baifole, Michile, Melba. These are the 5 Gada cycles, a cyclic process which is one generation. So the Gada system includes or incorporates the important principles of check and balance, and there was also division of power among the executive, legislative, and the judicial organs. So those who has decision makers have their own shares on their own powers. So there was also balanced position among 5 parties of the Oromo. So power sharing among administrative organs, as we see, there is Abba Sera, Abba Dula, Abba Gada, Abba Lange. So there is a kind of power sharing among different organs in order to have fair administration. The process of removing corrupted officials through using the traditional form of the Oromo called Bukisa. This Bukiso is a kind of uprooting the corrupt leaders from the power. So let's proceed to Moggasa and Guddifacha. These Moggasa and Guddifacha were very important institutions of the Oromo, which helped for the population movements of the Oromo, and it helped for the integration of the Oromo to other nations of Ethiopia. So the Oromo institutions, what we call them, the Guddifacha and Moggasa. Let's see Guddifacha. These Guddifacha were taken from the Oromifa language, which means a form of parent adopting a child, taking an orphan as their own children, as their own child. So Oromo nation took the child as their child. In this system, the child enjoyed equal rights and privilege with their biological child. So they give him full freedom. They consider him as their child. We call it Guddifacha. Guddifacha is a form of parent adopting a child. The second institution of the Oromo is known as Moggasa. Moggasa was a system of adopting non-Oromos, commonly known as Oromso. Moggasa was a practice of integrating individual or other groups into the Oromo clan through oath, through a strict cultural practice that we called oath, an agreement of alliance through strict oaths, so they can integrate with non-Oromo. This type of system was called Moggasa. So let's proceed to classwork. I want to know what you understand from the day's lesson. Question number 1. Gada system divide the Oromo society into grades based on A. Religious affiliation, B. Wisdom and leadership quality, C. Age and generational class, D. Clan size and territory. Question number 2. Which indigenous social practice helped the Oromo to take up non-Oromo population in the 16th century and after? A. Guddifacha, B. Gada, C. Moggasa, D. Kalu. Let's do the question together. Question number 1. The Gada system divided the Oromo society into age grade based on religious affiliation. Is it religious based on religion, what we call it Waqifana? It's not religious based on religion. Wisdom and leadership quality. They pass through different periods, so this is not the answer. Clan size and territory. Are they divided by they did not divide by clan size and territory. So the Gada system based on age and generation class. Therefore, the answer is C. Let's proceed to question number 2. Which indigenous social practice helped the Oromo to integrate or take up non-Oromo population in the 16th century and after? A. Guddifacha. Because the question says non-Oromo population, it's not an individual, it asks us. So it's not be Guddifacha is a kind of parent adopting a child, an individual. So non-Oromo groups, he said, populations. So Gada system is not it's a social or political organization rather. So Kalu, by the way, Kalu is a priest, so the answer is not Kalu, it says spiritual leaders, Kalu. So our answer is Moggasa. Our answer is Moggasa because Moggasa helps us to integrate Oromo with non-Oromo population in 16th century. Therefore, our answer is Moggasa C. Let's sum up our today's lesson. The Gada system organized the Oromo society into age grade and generation sets. It delineates members' social, political, and economic responsibilities. It was an institution through which the Oromo socially organized themselves, administer their affairs, defend their territory, maintain law and order, and manage their economics. The Gada system constituted elements of democracy and functioned by cyclic power transfer from one Gada class to the next in every 8 years. So the Oromo integrated with non-Oromo society through two adoption mechanisms called Moggasa and Guddifacha. Now we are winding up the day's lesson. In the next, we will learn about the era of princes in a history of Ethiopia, or the era of Zemene Mesafint, which started from 1769 up to 1855. Thank you very much. This is all about our day's lesson. Thank you for your attention.